Hey, what's going on down here? Sounds like you have a party going. Get some lights on. What are you guys doing down here?
I'm liking the music though.
Yeah. Dr. Singer, hey, you got everything set up. Thanks a lot. You're just kind of hanging out, huh? I don't know. If I were down here when this music kicked on, I wouldn't be able to stop the temptation to start dancing. I might even grab my new... Yeah. You have a lot of self-control. I mean, just to stand there just still. Wow. Okay, let's launch into this unboxing. Let's launch into this unboxing. Oh, looks like we got a little bit of damage on this box. It doesn't feel like it goes all the way through there. It feels like there's another box on the inside, so that's good. That's really good. All right, Dr. Singer, I'm going to move you out of the way, and we're going to jump into this unboxing. Thanks again for getting it all set up. Again, I'm just amazed that when I came down, you weren't cutting a rug, because that was some cool music. What'd you think of that piano player? I dabble with the piano. I know Bill does as well. I'm not sure if Hans plays any musical instruments or not. You'll have to ask him. But I wouldn't be able to stand still to a song like that, that's for sure. And that was called We Ride. We Ride. Let's see what else we have. I think we played this next one before, Backwoods Barbecue. Let's try this one out. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's some guitar playing right there. Well, you know what? Before I even make the first cut on the tape on this box, let me tell you a little bit about who sent this and how long it took him to get it here. Almost a year ago, Bill Wessels from the great state of Florida, specifically Avon Park, Florida. Isn't it a beautiful name? Doesn't it make you just want to go visit it to see what Avon Park, Florida is all about? Bill, how far are you from Avon Park? You know what, if Bill isn't attending this, somebody look it up and see how far it is from Kissimmee, Florida to Avon Park, Florida. And if you post it in the chat during the premiere, I'll send you something special. But that is just a gorgeous city name. I'm telling you, nothing non-gorgeous about Kissimmee, or as I prefer, Kissimmee, Florida. But Avon Park, boy, that just sounds like something, doesn't it? Yeah. And that was Backwoods Barbecue. That was Backwoods Barbecue. Never You Mind is the next one. Yeah, it took Bill almost a year to get this machine here. It was a combination of things. But he finally did it. I am pleased as punch to have an opportunity to unbox this machine. And you've seen this machine on the channel before. And the big clue as far as seeing Dr. Singer at the opening of this is that it might very well be a Singer sewing machine. It might be. This is a real sturdy box too that Bill used. This is real sturdy. It looks like it got a punch through on top too. See that? All the way through the box. But you wouldn't be able to see that from the outside. I wonder if that must be old damage. Maybe that's old damage. But it just goes to show you, you don't want to use a cheap box, even shipping just from Florida to Wisconsin, because all kinds of things, all kinds of hands, all kinds of trucks, all kinds of planes are involved in that process. So that again was called, what was that called? Never You Mind. Let's see what the next one might be. Gmorphous Robots, really? We got to try this one. Gmorphous Robots, here we go. So here's some of our airbag packing material, and they're all intact because they're right on top of the machine and there was nothing to compromise them, so that's good. Huh. I wonder. I don't think that was planned. This thing did get impacted. Let me come off the tripod, I'll show you what I'm looking at. So the first thing I see when I look in the box after taking those two bubble type airbags out is I see a spool pin sticking through this foam. And I'm thinking, okay, so the machine is like right underneath that. It's got to be right underneath that, right? No. That doesn't look good, does it? So whatever happened to this box in transit, it got hit hard enough that it actually dislocated the spool pin from the machine. And at the same time, the machine must have popped up a little bit or something like that, because then it punched a fairly large hole through the top of this box cover. That's probably, it's probably about 3 inches, 3.5 inches wide. And I can feel the machine underneath there. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed. And there you can see the balance wheel right there. And there's no cushion. There's no cushion between that balance wheel and the side of the box. I was just checking to make sure that that was my address showing and not his. Again, I like to respect the privacy of my customers. But you can see the thickness. The thickness of the box is pretty substantial. That's a nice thick corrugated box. But nonetheless, if something hits the side of that, in transit, there's nothing at all as a buffer between that balance wheel and that the outside of that box. And again, the big deal with the balance wheel are a couple of things. One is they're cast usually, and they can fracture or they can break. The second thing is, right in conjunction with that balance wheel is the main shaft and all of the gearing that goes through that machine that's so integral, even impacts to some degree the timing of the machine. So it goes again to show that packing is absolutely critical. And I'm keeping my fingers and toes crossed that everything will be fine when we get this machine out of here. But it just goes to show you what can happen. Again, just coming from Florida to the workshop here in Oconto, Wisconsin. I mean, it's not a short distance. It's about what? Any of you Floridians, it's probably what, about 1,100-1,200 miles? So it's a good little walk. But still, nonetheless, you know, it just goes to show you again what can happen. And my good friend Bill, who took almost a year to get this machine to the workshop, did not create a whole lot of suspense as far as, I mean, literally right underneath this cover that's punched through and you can see the balance wheel is the machine. I just took a little peek off the camera when I moved it to the side. So I'm going to get back on the tripod. We're going to get back on the tripod. I'm going to pick out another song. I'm going to give you a couple more history clues in relation to this machine. And then we're going to unbox the rest of it. And again, there's not a lot of suspense here because Bill doesn't have any cocooning on it. He doesn't have any layers on it. It is what it is. And I hadn't seen, there's another, this thing got beat up pretty good. Let me zoom down to the bottom of this box again. I'd shown you that one. I showed you this one already, and then you saw the inside of the container, and we got another punch through right over here as well. And I didn't look on the inside of the container. I can't see it yet. I didn't see yet if that's all the way through or not. Yeah, I can't see, even lifting that little cover, as to whether or not it's all the way through. But we will find out. We'll find out how this box survived the journey, coming from Avon Park, Florida to Oconto, Wisconsin. All right, I'm going to throw another song on and we'll keep on rocking. Keep on rolling. So again, that last one was called Ginormous Robots, and this next one is called Moon Rock, which I know we played a number of these before. I searched under rock. I was just curious about rock, and this is what I found. Okay, a couple of quick clues. So the clue on this machine is that it's a rotary hook machine, unlike its little brother that has an oscillating hook. And its little brother was made from 1932 until 1956. Whereas this machine that belongs to Bill Wessels from Avon Park, Florida, was produced from 1935 until 1961. And is a rotary hook, if I didn't mention that already. So again, the little brother to the machine inside of this box, made from 1932 to 1956, has an oscillating hook, and the machine inside of here, which I guess some, if that's the little brother, someone would say, okay, well, this is the big brother of that other machine, right? The answer is yes. And this big brother that's inside of this box was made from 1935 until 61 and is a rotary hook. So one is oscillating hook, one is rotary hook. The one in the box was made from 1935 to 61. The little brother of the machine inside of this box was made from 1932 to 1956 and has an oscillating hook. Those are some really good clues, folks. If you follow me faithfully, you've got a pretty good clue of what that machine is that we're about to pull out of the box is. If you don't follow me faithfully, then you probably don't have a clue. But you'll find out soon enough. And this is a classroom, and we're all about learning here. We're not critical of folks that don't know stuff. We're excited that they can begin to learn new stuff and then can begin to share that with other people, right? It's all about sharing. It's not about coveting information. It's about sharing. And it's about the beauty of a classroom. Class is officially started. I'm a little bit late on that. Y'all need to remind me. Y'all need to remind me to ring that bell. So that was Moon Rock. And now I'm going to put on something called Rockville. Rockville. This better be a peppy song, or they totally, if this isn't a peppy song, they totally misnamed it. I mean, Rockville, doesn't that make you think right away about putting on your steampunk type hat and just kicking it out? Yeah, me too. All right, all right. Yeah, yeah, all right. Do you have your hat on too? I can tell you where to get these if you want to know. Send me a note. All right, I gotta take this off. It's too warm. Woo! Oh my goodness. I admire folks that can wear a hat all the time. Holy mackerel. How that doesn't cook your head. Woo! I'm standing in front of the fan right now. Goodness gravy. All right, I gave you some great clues. If you haven't typed it in the chat as far as your guess yet, then it's probably going to be too late, because we're about to come off the tripod again. And we're going to look inside of this box and see what Bill Wessels took almost a year to send me. I'll give you one other huge clue. So warm up your fingers and get ready. Are you ready? I can't hear you. Are you ready? Okay, here's the huge clue. Yeah. If that's not a big enough clue for you, along with what I've already given you, then you need to stay after class and do extra homework. Seriously. All right, here we go. So if you didn't type it in yet, it's probably going to be too late, unless you can type real quick before I name the machine. Are you ready? All right, here we go. I'm going to move this out of the way first. And I better pull that spool pin out of there, which I don't think it's broken off. It just basically got dislocated because of that impact that the machine went through. Okay, so no music, just total silence right now. What's that over there? Looks like a felt. I bet you that's the felt from the top of the machine. It surely is. So again, it just shows you, with what I've shown you on the outside of the box, the inside of the box, this being dislocated from the machine, the felt ending up on the other side over here, because over here is the spool pin where this punch through is. And it just shows you, yes, I put it on my magnet tray so I wouldn't lose it. Right there. It just shows you what a box can go through, folks. Don't cheat on packing well when you get a machine that you're going to send to the workshop. Seriously, you can see what can happen to it. All right, here we go. The big unveiling. Bum ba ba bum. Type away. I haven't said it yet. I haven't said it yet. This is none other than the Singer 201-2. The Rolls-Royce of Singer sewing machines. The Rolls-Royce. And that's why I showed you my Rolls Royce on the other side there, right down there. That's my Rolls Royce. It's probably the closest I'm ever going to come to having a Rolls Royce. Unless I were able to track down my friend. Do you remember that last giveaway we did for, was it 7,000 subscribers? And I gave away a 201-2. And the one I gave away had been sent to the workshop by a gentleman from out in Hollywood, California. And he said that he was a regular person that went to the Rolls-Royce dealership out there. I bet if I could track him down, I could get a ride in a Rolls-Royce. Wouldn't that be fun? I could put like a carpet or something like that on the hood of that beautiful car and then bring a 201-2 as carry-on in the airplane. I'm not sure how I would accomplish that, but I would try. And then I could put the 201-2 right on the hood of the Rolls-Royce. Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing. I'm seeing the same thing. The security, and surely they must have security at the Rolls-Royce dealership out in Hollywood, California. Before I could even place the machine on the hood, they probably would have me hauled off somewhere. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they would, yeah. But it's a great idea nonetheless. It's a great idea. So this is Bill Wessel's Singer 201-2 that we're going to work now to get the rest of the way out of this box. He's got some really good padding on the side. This is on the rear of the machine. That's a nice thick padding, and it's not brittle, so it's actually affording some protection. You can see me squeezing it. And he's got some good protection on the faceplate side. He's got some good protection on the front of the machine here. But once again, just because of the sheer, maybe because of the width of the machine, I'm only assuming, let me pull this piece out. Are we all the way to the edge? Yeah, we're all the way to the edge. So here again, if you look at it logically, we've got the end of the bed of the machine by the raceway right up against the edge of the box. Now granted, it's a thick box, but the thick box is still going to take shock waves as it's getting transported from Avon Park, Florida, all the way to Oconto, Wisconsin, and that shock is going directly into the machine because there's no buffer, there's no cushion between the end of the bed of Bill's machine. You see that, right? There's no cushion at all. There's no buffer. Same thing on this side with the balance wheel. There's no cushion, there's no buffer. That balance wheel is pressed right up against the side of the box. So the box is only as wide as the machine is. So there was, other than what Bill did, there's no way to protect the machine from getting shock waves on the end of the bed and on the balance wheel itself. Again, going all the way through that main shaft right by the potted motor and everything else. So I would have picked a different box, to be perfectly honest. I would have picked a different box. Because if the box doesn't have a cushion of protection, and yes, I got that from the movie Bedtime Stories. If you haven't seen that movie, it's a cute movie, Bedtime Stories, and that's one of his lines in it, is the cushion of protection. When he's talking to a lady that he parks next to in his rough and tough, beat up, rugged looking hotel truck, and she's got a Prius. No offense to Prius owners, okay? So there's no cushion of protection on either end of the machine, by the balance wheel or by the bed. So let me go back on the tripod and I will finish trying to get Bill's machine out of this box, and then we will continue checking the machine out. And I'll pick a little bit more music to put on at the same time. Okay. So that was, what was that last one? Was that Rockville? I think it was Rockville. So the next one we're going to do is called An Army of None. And you know, instead of continuing with kind of a rock mode, I could go to something totally different. Let's do this. Let's go with, I'm going to type in the keyword piano, see what we get. The keyword piano. Let's see if we get any songs that come up. And we did. So let's start with Allegro. under the keyword of piano. Here we go. There's no way I'm going to be able to. There's no way I'm going to be able to cut through this box. It's so thick as far as the corrugation, and it even has staples in it as well. So I'm going to have to find a way just to lift this machine out of there, which I should be able to do. And then we'll get it on the workbench and take a look at it. Okay. Also, Bill did not pad the foot controller either, which you always want to pad the foot controller, folks. Again, it's fragile, it's delicate. And something like this can happen to your machine as it's coming from your location to mine. So pad everything that's going to be in that box. Pad everything, please. So on the bottom of the box, you can kind of see it. In the bottom of the box, we have a piece of cardboard, and you can see that the machine, other than being set on top of it, didn't have any pad or cushion underneath the pedestal feet, which are cast, basically cast metal. And as this machine was being transported, again, all it had was a little bit of padding on the top and then padding around the machine, but it was pressed against each end with the bed and the balance wheel. It was bouncing up and down. It couldn't go anywhere from side to side because the box is as wide as the machine, but it was bouncing up and down, and you can see it punched a hole all the way through this corrugated cardboard. You can see where all the pedestal feet are because it punched a hole all the way through it, except for on this end right here where it's got a round pedestal foot, but it actually was bouncing enough, it made an indentation into the cardboard. So not the ideal packing method, and even with this piece of foam that's in the bottom, you can see it punched all the way through the cardboard, all the way into the foam, at least on one of the pedestal feet. So after taking almost a year to ship it, I've got to be an honest broker. I mean, this is a classroom. We learn, right? Bill could have done a much better job in protecting his Rolls-Royce of Singers than he did. And that's just the honest truth. And I hope Bill is open to that feedback. I'm not trying to be mean or cruel. I'm just trying to say, if you've got a Rolls-Royce of Singers and you're sending it all the way to Oconto, Wisconsin, whatever the distance is, that was part of our impromptu contest near the beginning where I said, tell me the distance between Avon Park, Florida and Kissimmee, Florida. Whatever that distance was, I have no idea. I'm not looking at the chat. But the machine should have been packed a lot better. Should have been packed a lot better. Absolutely. Including the foot controller. And I am not seeing... Oh, I see it. Okay, it's all got it. It's all interlaced in this cacophony, if that's a word, of wiring. I sometimes do make up words. I think some of you have discovered that have followed me for a long time. Sometimes I just make up words. I could probably write my own dictionary. Alex, my friend from England, writes books on sewing machines. I could write books on fake words that I've made and how they've been adopted. That would be a good plan. So we do have a power cord. It looks like an aftermarket, well, no it's not, it's Stamp Singer. They have ones that look identical to this that are aftermarket, but this looks like an original one, a later model one, but it'll work, I'm sure it'll work just fine. And then we've got our Bakelite foot controller. Turn my screen around here. Got our Bakelite foot controller. And again, if you're not familiar with the Bakelite foot controllers, they are rated at 0.7 amps, which is fine because the motor inside of this Rolls-Royce of Singer sewing machines is rated at 0.54 amps. Some of the 201-2s like the 1591s, which when I was giving you all those clues about the rotary versus oscillating, etc., I was obviously talking about the little brother of this machine being the Singer 1591. So both of those machines are generally going to be right around 0.5 to 0.54 amps. So again, my rule about the foot controller needing to have a higher amperage tolerance than the machine, these are perfectly matched together with this Bakelite foot controller. And again, even foot controllers need maintenance. If you're not familiar with that, you can go back to one of my earlier premieres where I showed you how to take out the carbon discs out of this type of foot controller and actually get all of that carbon dust out of there. Because the carbon dust over time that builds up in those two wells, each of those wells has probably about 50 paper thin carbon discs. And over time, because the electricity is flowing through them, they begin to deteriorate. They begin to generate what is basically a carbon dust. And that carbon dust causes the foot controller to begin to have overheating issues. And I actually showed you in one of the premieres way back when. I don't remember when it was. Some of you might. But I actually showed you how to take all those discs out, get that carbon dust out of there, put the disc back in, and then you've got a foot controller that's going to run much, much cooler. So check that out if you haven't seen it. And maybe I'll end up doing another one of those again, just so that you folks can see me do it again to one of these, excuse me, one of these foot controllers. So I'm just going to take a quick peek at Bill's machine. And I'm seeing wiring that looks solid. So I might be willing to roll the dice and see what kind of how this machine is running, at least when it's arriving at the workshop. And I'm going to raise the presser foot. The presser foot was down, but Lord knows, with as much as this machine got bounced around, it could have been in the down position, it could have been in the up position, we just don't know. Okay, let me pick another song and I'll come off the tripod, we'll get closer to this machine, we'll take a look at it, we'll turn it around, look at all the edges and everything, just check it out, and then I'll plug it in and we'll fire it up and see what we have at the beginning. Okay, so that was Allegro, and now we're going to do We Ride. We Ride, which is also under piano. And I'm going to get a drink of water. You can do the same thing if you'd like. Well, there goes one bottle. Again, I get a little bit of a workout during these premieres, if you didn't notice. All right, let's come off the tripod and take a peek at this Rolls-Royce of Singer sewing machines. And just for practice, just for fun, if you want to look this machine up, because I have no idea what the dating of the machine is, you want to do that, that would be super cool. You can put it in the chat. There's the serial number right there. If you're still searching for a pen, pencil, or crayon, you're too late. I'm going to move. You'll have to check it out afterwards. And here we have one of these absolutely gaudy, ugly, nasty looking stickers on this machine from, what is it? Ace Sewing and Vacuum Center out of Florida. They felt compelled to stick this right on the pillar of this beautiful 201-2. Yes, if you want to call them and videotape yourself telling them what kind of crazy idiots are you for doing this to the Rolls-Royce of Singer sewing machines, by all means give them a call. And if you videotape it and share the video with me, I'll send you something really, really, really special. All right, let's go around this machine a little bit more. You can see that shine is really, really working to try to come through there, but it's all chalky and veneered, and this machine has gotten a little bit of a workout as far as the decals. Hey, look at it, it's an Inger. I'm just kidding. The S and the I are pretty much gone, so it looks like an Inger sewing machine. That's a brand new brand. Some of you Google that, see if there actually is an Inger sewing machine. I'm doubting that there is, but you never know. Beautiful medallion on the front here. Beautiful medallion. Let's see if our kickback spring is good. Yay. And we have no bobbin tire, which I'll make sure a bobbin tire gets onto Bill's machine. And remember, this is another place that you need to make sure that you service periodically. That little hole right in the middle is not for ventilation, as I've said in another premiere. It's for lubrication. That oil works its way through there, gets on that shaft, and then makes that shaft turn easily, so when you're doing bobbin winding, you don't get where the bobbin tire is kind of you know, basically losing traction, or it's putting a huge amount of drag on that potted motor. I would say about every 10 to 12 hours of sewing, put 1 or 2 drops in there. Probably 1 drop is going to be sufficient, and then give that a manual turn to make sure that that's lubricated well. So I'm pleased that the kickback spring is good, because those are a little bit of a pain in the neck to change out. Just a little bit. And if you're not familiar with the 201-2, if you're new to this channel, there's 2 wells that you can kind of see underneath there. Well number 1, well number 2. And when you fully service a 201-2, all of the old grease and stuff needs to be taken out of the potted motor chamber and out of these wells, and then it needs to be filled with fresh grease. Don't use oil on it. You've got to use a special grease like my pink stuff to fill up those wells and to make sure that that's properly lubricated. Let's see what else we have. I'm pleased that in spite of the machine not being packed well, that this housing here for the electrical contacts did not get cracked. It appears to be all intact, so that's really, really good news. When I saw some of the issues of the punch through and just the overall packing quality of the machine, that was a big concern for me. And again, you can see that the paint right now, the back plate looks pretty doggone awesome. I like the way the plate looks. I'll do some more cleanup on it, but the paint definitely needs a little bit of TLC. It's got the potential for greatness, but right now it's just shrouded in that oily varnishing type cloudy look, and we need to clean that up just a little bit. And look at this, there's actually part of that sticker edge up, and I'm not going to go to pull it off, because if it's been on here long enough it could actually damage the paint, but I'll work this off with a solvent and get that off of the pillar. I'm sure that Bill has no fond attachment to it, and I've got it on video camera if he needs to call these people himself. And here we've got, you remember recently we did that premiere on the 101-4, and I showed you how to take out that bolt on the front so you could remove the whole motor. On this one, as I had mentioned in that premiere, it's got a small little screw right here, or a bolt, and it's got a bolt right over here. And you'll definitely want to take this decorative plate off before you try taking that screw out if you're going to pull this cover off. Just because you'll be working real close to that cover with a screwdriver and you don't want to scratch it or something like that. So just take this little plate off, unscrew that, and then you can remove that cover if you want to try servicing your motor. And you don't have to take this all the way off. You can just unscrew it a little bit, rotate it up, and then screw it back down. It's like almost opening the hood of a car. You can kind of take a little peek in the back of here. There's some critical service areas back here to include the worm gears you can see on the right side there. And I'm seeing a lot of dirt. I'm seeing a lot of buildup, a lot of caramelized junk in there. So we're definitely going to be doing some deep cleaning on Bill's machine as well. We, as far as myself and Dr. Singer. Because Mr. Bean is probably going to be tied up doing other things. And I don't even see Herr Obermeister. Where is Herr Obermeister? Now I'm curious. Mr. Bean, where did Herr Obermeister go? Do you know? You don't? Well, he's got to be in the workshop somewhere. I mean, how far would he go? Okay, we're over by Carolyn's machine now. That's going to be going out to California to replace the one that was stolen from her. Ah, okay, there you are. No, I get it. I totally get it. It's a FOF, and you're from Germany. And that's your baby. I get it. Technically this FOF is from Japan, but I'm not making a point of that because it's still a FOF. So that's where Herr Obermeister is. Very cool, very cool. Alright, so a little bit of deep cleaning on this machine, paint cleanup, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if we can plug this in and actually check it out. But before I do that, I'm going to turn this machine back around. Can lower that cover back down. Okay. And what I wanted to do, just because of seeing those punch throughs on the bottom of the box, I just want to make sure we don't have any damage to the pedestal feet. Remember that recent machine that we unboxed? And we checked out the entire bottom of it. Wasn't it? It was a FOF 332, right? You have to forgive me, folks. I deal with so many machines, both on camera and off camera, that I sometimes lose track. But I'm pretty sure that that was a FOF 332. And I believe it may have been out of California. But regardless, we went over the bottom of that machine and I didn't initially see it. And then all of a sudden we saw that one of the pedestal feet had been snapped off. So it never hurts to check a little bit closer. You can see all the varnishing and buildup on the raceway area too. We'll do our best to get that area cleaned up too, just to give the machine a little bit freer running. And if you're not familiar with it, on the 201-2, this little knob right here, if you unscrew that, you're able to manually bring those feed dogs down, just like on a number of the featherweight models. So you can unscrew this, you can bring the feed dogs down, and then when you're done you can push it back up and screw it back into place so those feed dogs are engaged. But the whole idea is there are some folks that will want to do freehand embroidery, and it gives you that option, which is awesome. So again, you're just seeing a lot of cleanliness issues, varnishing issues on the bottom of Bill's machine. A lot of service points. On the bottom of the 201-2 to include inside of these pedestals. And I showed you that on that premiere a while back, and also in some Facebook shots as well, that a lot of people, they'll service some of these obvious points down here, in here, over there, with the extension that goes up to the pitman arm. Even on these areas here that obviously they turn when I move the balance wheel. And they'll even say, well, Scott, you said anything that pivots or, you know, basically has any sign of any movement, that needs to be lubricated. Well, that's absolutely true. But what you can't see can hurt you or your machine. Because what you can't see right now is when I'm doing this rocking motion, and you can see all those other places pivoting, underneath here, there's pivoting worm gears. Over here, there's pivoting worm gears underneath there as well. So, again, our classroom is all about learning. And if you have a Rolls-Royce of Singer sewing machines and you're going to try to service it yourself instead of sending it to the workshop, then these are only a couple of little pointers that I'm giving you right now on areas that are critical to service on this machine if you want to be able to optimize it. I'm still keeping some secrets, folks. I am. I'm still keeping some secrets. So let me rock this forward. I'm doing it one-handed, very carefully. All right. And if you're new to vintage sewing machines, the Singer 201-2 is a meaty, well-made machine, to say the least. It's a meaty, well-made machine. Okay, let's get back on the tripod. I'll pick out another song. So all in all, I'm very pleased. I'm not seeing any evident damage to this machine. Again, the vintage sewing machine fairies were looking out for this Rolls-Royce coming from Avon Park, Florida to Oconto, Wisconsin. And the machine looks like it was spared any significant damage. And in view of the packing not being stellar, and in view of the punch throughs and everything else, I'm extremely pleased. Extremely pleased. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to grab our power cord. Actually, I'm going to grab some music first. So that was We Ride, and now we're going to do number 4 Piano Journey. Number 4 Piano Journey. Excuse me. Okay, so we have power now. The first thing I'm going to check is the light. Excuse me. Actually, I need to raise that presser foot too. The other thing I'm going to do as well is just manually turn this and make sure that the needle is clearing the hook. You always want to do that when you get a new machine that you've never used before, if you don't know the history of it and stuff, is before you plug it in and push on that foot controller, manually turn that balance wheel several times to make sure that we're not going to hit the needle against the hook or against the bobbin case, if there's a bobbin case like on a 1591, etc. So, all right, I think we're good to go. So let's try the light. And again, this has an incandescent bulb coming into the workshop. Let's take a look at this. Plug that. Plug that. I'm going to shut this off just temporarily. I don't want that light to get too hot. So that was number 4 Piano Journey. I'm going to put on Hovering Thoughts now. Hovering Thoughts. Excuse me. All right, so here's our light. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. A literal frog, you never know. So here's our light with the incandescent bulb. All right, I'm going to shut that off and we'll put in the replacement bulb that I offer. And we'll see how that looks. That is if I can get this out. It feels like it's kind of stuck in there. All right, I finally got it out. All right, and here's my bulb. Excuse me, here's my bulb. I'm going to get some more water. Yeah, just a little bit of a difference. Quite a bit, actually. Yeah, that's a huge difference. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that bulb in there just because it really does help quite a bit. And I know it'll benefit Bill as well. So if you send your machine here and my replacement LED bulb is compatible with your machine, just count on the fact that I'm going to replace that for you. And that's usually something I just throw in, kind of like all the cleaning I do on the machine as well, which again, if you go to your local service center or your sewing center and get your machine serviced there, unless you have a diamond in a rough, because I've never heard, I've invited folks to let me know if there is a place like that, and I've never heard any feedback on a place that goes to the length that I do in cleaning a machine, deep cleaning it, servicing it when it comes to the workshop. But if there is a place like out there again, by all means let me know. I'd love to give them a shout out. But you know, that's just something I do. Replacing the bulb, doing the deep cleaning, the service on the machine, and then all of the timing and all the other adjustments that have to be done to it as well. So that's why people will make the added investment to send the machine in, just like Bill has done from Avon Park, Florida. Okay, so let me move this incandescent bulb to the side, and we will fire this machine up and see how it is running as it's come into the workshop. And I hope I don't get anything funny happening, like a poof or anything like that. And I'll leave music off right now so we can listen to the machine. Okay, here we go. Let me first of all, actually, let me do one thing real quick. Let me first of all try it without any drag on the main shaft. We'll just try it as if we're going to wind a bobbin. That's all the way down, folks. So we have some power issues with the motor. That's definitely not the power level that we should be seeing from a 201-2. So now let's try it with the clutch engaged and see how it moves that needle. And you can see as soon as we put a drag and add that extra main shaft and everything else that is needing to be moved now by that motor, we're not even close to what should be full power for a 201-2. And that's all the way down. I'm not going to run it anymore. With it performing like that, I've got concerns as to what I'm going to find inside of the motor. So, but it does at least fire up, so we've got something to work with. So, all in all, I'm kind of I'm very surprised that the machine survived as well as it did, considering the packing job. I'm pleased that everything seems to work on the machine. It's not optimized yet, obviously, but it does work. We're getting a response from the motor. The foot controller is working. Again, our electrical plug-in point on the right side of the machine is intact. It didn't get damaged. We've got something that we can work with. And again, we is me and Dr. Singer. Because I just want to remind you all again, and especially you that are new to this channel, you look at a channel like this that has over 1,000 videos, and I've been around a long time, and you look at over 9,000 subscribers, and you look at all the stuff on Facebook, and you go, this dude in Wisconsin must have a team that works with him. And I've even had people say that to me when they call me or when they email me. They'll say, gosh, I can't believe I'm actually communicating with you. I thought I might be talking to your assistant, or I thought I might be talking to one of your staff. My staff is comprised of Dr. Singer, Mr. Bean, and Herr Obermeister. That's it. So when a machine arrives, I'm the one that does the unboxing. When a machine needs to be repaired or serviced or optimized, it's me that does it. And yes, Dr. Singer helps a little bit. When the machine ultimately is completed and all the setup needs to be done for the premiere, kind of like over by Carolyn's machine right now. If we zoom in on it, you'll see a stack of sew-offs all set to go. And I've already done all the other... Hi, Herr Obermeister. Wie geht's? Ganz gut? Gut. And I've already done all these sew-offs off camera, and I've shown those to you on Facebook. But all of this is done by me. And I'm not saying that in a self-serving, braggadocious way. I'm just trying to ground you back to the fact that if you send me a machine and it takes a little bit longer to get the machine on the workbench than you think it should have taken, just remember all the other things that I'm taking care of. And it's only me. And again, no offense to Dr. Singer, Mr. Bean, or Herr Obermeister, but they're there for support. They encourage me. They give words of wisdom. But the hands on the machines and the packing of the machines, which in and of itself, as some of you have noted, is a huge undertaking itself. When I get to the point of a machine is done, it's been premiered if it's going to be premiered, and then I have to pack it to ship it wherever it's going in the world. That's all me. So I'm saying that again just to remind you, if you send a machine here, give me lots of grace and lots of patience. If you drop off a machine, give me lots of grace and lots of patience as I work my way through the queue to get your machine ultimately on the workbench, ultimately premiered if it's going to be premiered, and then get it out the door heading back to you. And I know that you're excited to get it back, just as Chris was recently when I shipped his 101-4 back out to New York, and all the other ones as well. The one that's, oh goodness, getting brain fog right now. The one that's going to be heading back to Debbie down in Tennessee. I just got done packing that one up, and that's going to be on its way very shortly as well. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. The 99K hand crank, there we go. That was Debbie's machine. You know, try to realize if you go to the investment of sending the machine to the workshop, which number one, I want to say thank you for doing that. I really am grateful and I'm very thankful. But just give me lots of patience, please. Especially as I've kind of cut back on my hours after some of my health challenges and hospitalizations and all that kind of stuff. So there we go. So this is, we're looking at right now, just making sure that that foot controller wasn't heating up. Right now we're looking at William Wessel's, or Bill Wessel's, Singer 201-2, again from Avon Park, Florida. The unboxing is complete. We've done a quick power test on the machine, and that's definitely a concern. It's nowhere near the power. But overall, we've got a machine that I think will be a lot of fun once I get it back onto the workbench, which won't be right away. Just letting you know that. It's not going to be right away. I've got a number of machines as I'm kind of looking over my shoulder, the ones that are closest to getting on the workbench, and that is Super Bees out of Las Vegas. Yeah, on Las Vegas. I was like, what did I forget to say? And then we have, excuse me, Cindy Blongs. We've got Cindy Blongs as well, which I believe is a 66 if I remember right. And then we've got Lorraine Workman's, which is that Swedish beauty that has all kinds of things going on with it. The Viking 6370. Remember the Viking 6370 that belongs to Lorraine? And she is from, where is she from? I have no idea. Maybe Georgia? Somewhere down south, I think. So that just gives you a quick little snapshot of the machines that are in the queue right now ahead of Bill's that that was just unboxed. Again, I've got Super Bees out of Las Vegas. I've got Cindy Blong's Model 66. And I think Cindy's came out of Florida too. Yeah, I'm 99% sure it did. And then we also have Lorraine's as well that came, again, I think it's from the south. The area code for her phone number, I'll give you just the area code if you want to look it up and let me know in the chat real quick if you're able to do that. It's area code 765. Yep, 765. So that's where Lorraine's is, the Husqvarna Viking Model 6370. Remember that 6370 had rust issues and just all kinds of stuff going on with it. I think it also has a cracked cam stack on top of that. So that's going to be a machine that's going to spend a lot of time on the workbench. But there you go. Another successful unboxing. Fantastic box that Bill used. I just wish that the box had been a little bit bigger for that cushion of protection around the machine, and that the machine had been cocooned, which it wasn't. And as a result, the whole way from Avon Park, Florida to here, it was bouncing up and down inside of that box. That's how the spool pin on top was dislocated from the machine. The felt was on the other side of the box. So do a good job of packing if you're going to send it to the workshop, please, folks, please. So Bill, at last, thank you for persevering almost a year and getting this machine finally to the workshop. As soon as I'm able, I will get it onto the workbench and begin my work on it. Thank you for making that investment. So God bless everybody. And remember, I haven't said this for a couple of premieres. Remember, you're never old until regrets take the place of your dreams. So hang on to your dreams. And more importantly, take action on them. Okay? Take care and watch for other great premieres like this. Bye.